Project Search.
Well, hey, y'all, it's Danny again, and I have a presentation for you about how to get along with your coworkers. Watch the presentation carefully. It contains very important information that you'll be able to use later on when you have a paying job. Project Search UTMC Remote Learning presents How to Get Along with Your Coworkers. 5 key things to remember every day when you report to work. Having a job involves taking care of several responsibilities. You must make sure you have reliable transportation so you can get to work. Make sure you get to work on time. Follow the instructions your supervisor gives you. And that's to name just a few. But there's one aspect of working life that you might not have thought as much about, and that is having positive relationships with your coworkers. You will spend many hours each week with your coworkers. It is very important that you get along well with them. This presentation will list some of the things you can do to make sure your coworkers will enjoy working with you and you will enjoy working with them. Tip number 1, trust your coworkers. You can show your coworkers you trust them by focusing on your own tasks and allowing them to focus on theirs. If you attempt to correct them or try to get them to do things your way, they might think you don't trust them to get things done correctly. This is very important. You should stick to the task that you've been assigned. You can help someone if they ask you to help, but otherwise, you need to let your coworkers perform their tasks while you're performing yours, and that will let them know that you trust them to get their own work done. Tip number 2, respect your coworkers' ideas. When you are working together with coworkers on the same task, listen to their ideas about how to get the task done. You can share your ideas too, but be open-minded. Show your coworkers that you believe they have valuable ideas to contribute as well. Anytime you have a task that you're working on with one or more coworkers, it really is important that you show them that you believe their ideas and their strategies for a task are just as valid as your own. Listen to them, make sure you try other people's ideas, and not just try to have it your way. Tip number 3, be mindful of your words and actions. Be careful when you speak to make sure what you are saying won't be hurtful or insulting to any of your coworkers. If you're in a bad mood, make sure you don't take it out on your coworkers by saying rude or thoughtless things to them. It's really hard to do this if you're having a bad day, or maybe you're frustrated by your own tasks, and it may be tempting to lash out or say things that aren't very nice to your coworkers. Do your best to stop and think before you speak. Be sure that the words that you speak to your coworkers are supportive and not words that will make them feel bad. Tip number 4, respect the cultural and other differences of your coworkers. It is very likely that you will work on a team with people from different cultural backgrounds, and they will often differ from you in other ways as well. Respecting differences in age, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and disability, among other things, will help you build positive relationships with your coworkers. Remember that when you go to work, you're going to be working with people who have differences. You're not the same as anyone else, and so you should expect that your coworkers are going to be different from you and from each other. Demonstrate each day that you respect those differences and that you will not judge people based on those differences. Tip number 5, avoid gossiping about your coworkers. Do not participate in gossip about a coworker. Distinguish yourself from the crowd. If you overhear coworkers gossiping, don't join them. Stay focused on your work. Avoiding gossip will help you gain a reputation as a fair and empathetic person whom people can trust. It is tempting sometimes when you hear other people saying bad things about a coworker to maybe join in. Maybe you have some frustrations about a coworker and you hear people talking about similar ideas about that coworker. This won't do you any good in the end. It's much better to avoid getting involved in those types of situations. People will trust you to not talk behind their backs and to remain positive and supportive. So do not gossip. Did you understand the tips in the presentation? Do you have any ideas to add to the list of tips you just learned? Be ready to share your questions and comments when we get together. I'm looking forward to discussing this material with all of you when we get together. It is very important, as I said. It will help you be more successful at work. In fact, the better you get along with your coworkers, the more work everyone gets done, and the better you look as a worker to your coworkers and your manager. That's all.